Well, Dr. Jackson, thank you for taking the time to come out today and to be our keynote. You did a conversation with Julie, and we're using the term of intervention as this idea of our conference, of the summit, as we're intervening at a time that is difficult for many people. They have it's a lot of questions, and people are unsure of what the future looks like. And so at this intervention, at this moment of the summit and gathering about 500 people, how do you feel after being on the stage and speaking with Julie about this moment?
Well, NeFesha, I'm so grateful just to have the opportunity to be in conversation with you guys and with Julie. And I'm feeling hopeful and affirmed. So there was a lot of the conversation that was about work in recent years, which has been really important, but also work that goes back a few decades. And I'm struck by how important it is to stick to things that you believe in. And I think that people came here for something that's really vital to our state, vital to our country, vital to the world. And that's the ability to, as I say, have an artful life, right? The ability to ask questions, to be in connection with each other, to be curious, to empathize, to imagine, which is all the things that we do through the arts. I'm really excited and hopeful that because there are people who care so passionately about that we're on to something that we have to continue to pursue.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been pursuing it, and you've laid a foundation for people like myself and others, younger people that are advocating for the arts. But many of us are also artists and creatives, and we're curious of what is your creative process? What inspires you? What do you do to create?
I think it's home. It's home, and creating a space that feels safe, feels interesting, feels alive. And I think, the last few years, I was traveling so much. I was on the road almost every week.
Wow.
And now coming back home to a schedule that is less that, I'm really appreciating the personal artful life.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's not necessarily about, it includes all this, but yes, it's going to events and performances and that kind of thing. But it's also about having a place that is yours, that you call home, that inspires you, that fills you with awe.
Yes.
To be able to do that in that private, sacred environment that is yours and your family's, it's very special.
Okay, the artful life and basically like curating your home.
Yeah.
What pieces in your home, and you don't have to get intimate in that way, but just are there certain pieces that will always be with you, maybe art pieces? Or
I have mug and cup collection that's all handmade.
Wow.
So where I go, I'm always looking for, what am I going to add? So every time I either have a cup of tea myself or offer it to someone in my home or a guest or whatever, it just feels special to hold something that was handmade.
Absolutely.
Where people thought about making something interesting and beautiful and functional. And I feel very grateful to get to have that as part of my everyday experience.
Absolutely.
So there's that. So I'm a bit of a ceramics fan where I'm just drawn to it. And then, it's just too much information probably.
No, that's perfect.
I was very close to my paternal grandmother, and when she passed and we had to clean her house out, she had all of this handmade ceramics, these ceramic pieces. And I was like, this is where I get her from. This is, she had a very deep conviction to make a home a place that was special.
I love that. I've noticed that as I've gotten older, those connections with our ancestors that we don't always know. We're just doing it.
Yes.
It's something that's attractive to us.
Yes.
Yeah. So ceramics is that for you?
Ceramics is that for me. And then she would also make beautiful meals.
Oh, yes.
And so I've always thought that food and fashion, we were talking a little bit earlier about your interest in experience in fashion, that's part of an artful life.
Absolutely.
And I really when I was at the NEA, I was really hoping to be able to expand and incorporate that into what, as a country, we lift up.
Right.
As part of what makes us human, what makes us expressive, what helps us understand others.
Yeah.
Because you think of it as quotidian, you dress yourself every day, you eat every day. that it's also so much more than that.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're telling stories with the way you dress.
There's meaning in it.
There's meaning, intention.
Intention.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that truly is an artful life.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. In addition to all the other stuff, right? That the concert going, or, participation in choir, or you play an instrument at home, or whatever you do, you paint, or you rearrange things, or whatever it is. I think it's really important and healthy to acknowledge that creative impulse that we have as humans. And it's often an impulse that if you cultivate that, it leads to sharing.
Yes.
And it's often also an expression of care, whether it's care for yourself or care for others. So there is something that's very tied up in the appreciation of having an artful life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What comes to your heart and mind when you hear arts and health, or art is health?
That's true. I think it's true. I'm excited that there is so much more evidence, like formal evidence, of what I think we kind of know as humans. I'm really excited that there is a bridge from arts to health and wellness. And the more we think about the social and environmental determinants of health, the more that we have to think about how we live in the places we live and what affects us in a very holistic way. And I think that that's going to get us to a better place than thinking about things in a very siloed or antiseptic way.
Does culture, the practice of your culture, open up the door? I know the answer to this, but maybe you can help expound upon it. You practicing your art, practicing your culture, how does that then allow you to learn and explore and experience other people's cultures?
So that's how I grew up. So I grew up in a household, African-American father, a Mexican immigrant mother, both fiercely proud of who they were and where they came from, and wanted to make sure that wasn't lost on my brother and me. So there was a practice of the culture and wanting to make sure that we understood where we came from.
Absolutely.
And what we were being handed, right? And there was an obligation to steward that, a joyful obligation to steward it. But it also, thank my parents for this, it made us realize that other people have that too. It may look different from what we have, but it made us, I think, curious about what are other cultures and respectfully curious.
Yes.
So, what are other cultures? Where are the commonalities? Where are the differences? I think this is beyond the answer to your question, but I was really lucky to have parents who always felt like tourists, and not in the we don't belong way, or we're foreign here. That's not what I mean. They were constantly exploring the city. So I grew up in LA.
Okay.
And LA is vast.
It's a lot to explore.
It's never ending exploration, which I find thrilling. And they were never ending in their exploration. And they took us along in that. So we kind of grew up with this deep, abiding interest and curiosity in the place we lived and the diversity of the place that we lived. It's incredibly rich and interesting, right?
Yes. Ask you one more question. There's this, you may have heard it, I went to Jamaica back in December, and they have a saying, out of many, one. And I just love that. And coming back to the States with dealing with a lot of divisiveness, it made me think, what is the oneness? What is the oneness of our many? What does that look like? Or how would you define that? We have many cultures, but what connects us as a nation?
I think, at our best, what connects us is the recognition that we're interdependent and that I can't be okay if other people aren't also okay. So there's a oneness there. I think there's also something that at our best connects us when we realize that we all have gifts to deliver.
Yes.
That we all end our job is to figure out what that is and to deliver it.
Yes.
And for people who choose particular professions, to create the environments where that's likely. So my training as an urban planner has often been about neighborhoods and communities and creating places where I say people can reach their highest potential. But another way of saying that is creating places where we recognize our gifts and the gifts of others.
Yeah.
And are able to deliver those. So
I love that.
there's something that is universal about that.
Yes. There's a connection. We're all intertwined. Well, I thank you for taking the time to meet today.
Oh,
I really appreciate you. And even after being the keynote and having a million things to do, you took a moment to do this interview. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. It's wonderful to talk with you.
Likewise.